Yo, yo,
Hey, what's
yo.
going on, everybody? It's your boy Skip, aka Kurt, here with my man Angel. Not Tap. I know it says Tap. It's Angel. Y'all know what Tap looks like. Angel, go ahead and say what's up to the people.
What's going on, everybody? What's up, Twitch? What's up, Sacktown Nation? It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you to the big dog Kurt for allowing me to join the conversation. I look forward to getting down to the nitty gritty with you guys.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what we're gonna do today, y'all. It is the middle of the season. It's time to give the Kings their middle of the season grade. Um, this
Ooh.
grade might be a little harsh. We'll see. But we got to be honest about our team and where we're at. So we'll be covering the midseason grade, and we'll be going over a few topics. We're going to talk about fan apathy because that's a really big thing right now. We're going to talk about the current shifting lineups. What's circumstantial and what lies on coaching. Obviously, injuries affect that, so we're going to talk about how injuries affected the season, and then also the impact of the coaching change. And we won't make it too long-winded. We're going to jump right into it. So, actually, we're going to do it in reverse order. Angel, my man, like, how do you feel like the impact of the coaching change has affected the team and the team's success this year?
Well, I think it's a direct impact. It's not one of those things where you say it inadvertently or indirectly impacted it. It's something that is a direct impact. And I never thought I'd say this. I want to start off like this, but God, you don't know what you got until what do they say? What's the saying? Help me out here. You
You
don't know
don't
what you
know
got.
what you got till it's gone.
It's exactly right. And I never thought I'd be saying it, but damn, do I miss Dave Yeager and as Kings fans, we're gonna give it tough to everybody because that's how it's been handed to us. We don't get the we don't get it off easily in this league. A lot of people don't respect us, and for that, we have to be harsh to the people who are harsh to us. And sadly, it's no different with Luke Walton. I will say that Luke Walton's been getting better as far as getting an understanding of how deep the team actually is. But part of Dave Yeager's success was that he was with us for a couple of years, several years, and he didn't come off hot, But at the end of his tenure, he led us to a ninth spot in the Western Conference. We would have easily made the playoffs if we were an Eastern Conference team. But I don't think we can talk about Luke Walton without understanding how great Dave Yeager kind of made it for Luke Walton to transition and pick up where he left off. Sadly, it hasn't ended or hasn't started that way for Luke Walton. I will say that his rotation, I know you brought that up, but his rotation is one that I haven't been fond of, and it's quite apparent that the players on the team aren't quite appreciating either. And your question was how does it affect our success in the season? I would say that the inability to kind of manage the players, because as a coach, that's what your job is to do, right?
Big time.
From attitudes of Buddy to the just slump that Trevor Reeves is going to, it's your job as a coach to say, hey, this is not working right now. I need Yogi Ferrell to come in and produce some defense and offense because Corey Joseph, your defense isn't cutting it. It's great, excellent defense, but we need some points on the damn boards. We can't even break 100. From a team that was averaging over 115 and actually led the NBA in points per game just a year ago, and not just with points per game, but the pace. The
Pace
reason why
too.
we put so many points on those boards was because we weren't running a half court offense. We didn't even let you get into your half court defensive set because you know what? Swipe of the Fox has just came and went before you even blinked. So
Yep.
I'm just gonna tell you that I think that it's not fair to only solely put the blame on Coach Luke Walton for our lack of success this year. But I will say that somebody's got to take home the fair share of the blame. And like the great coach Bill Belichick once said, you're either coaching it or allowing it. And at this point of the season, being second to last team in the West, somebody's allowing this to happen. And is it Vlade Divac not making moves soon enough, or is it the coach just not realizing what kind of stars he has? Because if you think about it, the Nemanja Bjelica is starting on another person's team, right?
Yep.
Rayshawn Holmes is starting on another man's team, and I know he's starting with us, and I know he's out with injuries, but Harry Giles is not your 10th man off the bench. I'm sorry, he's not that guy. he is your 8th, your 7th player off the bench. He might as well, for some teams, he might be your 6th person off the bench because you just want your second center to be better than the other person's second center. We're not asking him to be a starter. We're not asking him to be the greatest center in the league. We're asking you to put in better minutes than their second rotation and just help us. If you're not going to push the lead, gain the lead, expand the lead, just don't hurt us, just help us, and we'll be fine. So to answer your question, Curtis, I know we said we'll keep it short. I'll say that, that coaching staff is not cutting it right now. And it goes beyond Luke Walton. Like that offseason pickup of Rico Hines, by the way, I love that move. I love that move for the Sacramento Kings. I mean, he's just somebody that people respect around the whole league.
We got an early break on that too. We got tipped off by some people that change had been made from Rico going from the Stockton Kings to the Sacramento Kings. So shout out to those people. Those sources. They know who they are.
Hey, keep it in the loop, man. Thank you, Curtis. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And guess what? It's not the Sacktown Breakdown number. It's the Sacramento Insider. We're taking over. We might as well. I'll let you kind of touch up on it, man. I know I kind of, shared my opinion and told you that I'm not 100% happy with Luke Walton. I never thought I'd be saying I miss Dave Yeager, but damn it, I do. I will tell you that I'm curious to hear where you stand with that, man.
Yeah, I echo a lot of your sentiments. One thing that Dave Yeager had was time. He had time to make mistakes. He came in on a let's fix it fast. Let's patch it quick and see if we can make DeMarcus work type thing. And then we ended up moving past that, and he made the adjustments that he needed to with the roster that he was left with De'Aaron Fox as he came in to, to give us a turnaround. I never thought I'd miss him as much as I did. I understand why he's gone. We haven't made improvements since he has been gone, so that kind of is what it is. My roommate is a Lakers fan, so I had I wouldn't call it pleasure, but I had the benefit, let's say, of watching quite a few Lakers games. And one of the very first things that I pointed out to him right after he got Luke, not last season, but even season before that, I was like, what are the half court sets that he's even running? I was like, Lonzo Ball pitches, he brings the ball up, pitches it off to someone and goes and stands in the corner. So back to your thing, like, you're either coaching it or you're allowing it, as Bill Belichick said. And that's pretty much, what I saw. I saw a coach that the players did enjoy, or at the very least, the players didn't dislike. But I didn't see a lot of player development. I didn't see a lot of player improvement. Ultimately, LeBron was brought in the year after that, and he installed Bron Ball, and Luke was on his way. So I understand why Luke is here, but unfortunately, as of yet, the things I see what Luke wants to do, but the way that he's trying to implement it has made us suffer. So that will be my closing thing on Luke. But I do believe that he can do. I do believe that he can do better. I don't want him fired yet. Honestly, we're still paying Dave Yeager. At this point, I don't want anybody fired. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit more. But I want people to just sit in their stinky mess and have to figure it out.
And find yourself, right? Because that's one thing you and I talked about on the side is identity. But God, part of the reason why we don't ever, identify ourselves is because we don't give ourselves the time to, New coaches, new GM, new this, new that. Sometimes you just got to sit and stew in it, and then, that's where you can find it. And then if not, just, give it, 4 or 5 years. That's instability isn't the way. So we know the impact of the coaching. We'll talk about the lineup shifting. Now, obviously the lineup shifts. Actually, I'm going to munch these two together. Injuries and how injuries and coaching decisions have affected the lineup. How do you feel like, what do you feel like the lineups that we've had, have been a result of, and where should they go moving forward? You know what? That's a great question, because at times you found yourself saying, dude, I love this lineup. Like, this is the Kings I've come to know. This is the wham bam kick out. We're shooting, but we're also crashing. Like, these guys on the floor deserve to be our starters. Or, hey, Luke Walton, why isn't this rotation your go-to in the fourth quarter? Because you've never gotten, as a fan, you haven't gotten to fall in love with the rotation, because what works against the Chicago Bulls didn't work against the Charlotte Hornets. And part of that is realizing that, yes, injuries have affected our lineup. Yes, our coaching still figuring out who's on their team has affected our rotation as far as who's here today and who's not getting any playing time tomorrow. Um, what I will say is that Luke Walton's done a great job of mixing it up so the other teams can't figure out what we're doing either. But at this point in the season, I mean, you at least have to know who your top six guys are, right? Top six, top seven guys are. But well, what's hard to if you can't even sum it down to seven, how do you want to get it to five? How do you want to get to your final starting five when you don't even know who's going to be the first man off the bench? Today it might be Justin James. Today it might be Justin James. Tomorrow it might be Kyle Guy getting called up from the Stockton Kings. Like as a fan, you don't know that, and as a coaching staff, you don't know. You're not building that identity, or you're not giving yourself time to kind of let your players adjust and find themselves. So what I will say about the shifting of the lineup, it has been very frustrating as a fan, just because we've been watching this team more than Luke Walton has, and we know, dude, come on, Harry Giles deserves to be there, or hey, dude, Nemanja is excellent, or good as a starter. He's even better off the bench, because he's facing their second unit. And dude, this guy's a Class A player. So when you put him against a bunch of second unit teams, dude, this guy's going to drop 30 every game. And so, we as a fan, you feel a little more connection with the players. Like, oh, I see Harry Giles' frustration. I see whatnot. But I will say that the shifting of the lineup has been very frustrating for me. But like you said, I don't think it's too late for the Kings to turn it around. I do still think that Luke Walton could do great things. But at this point, what I would ask for from the coaching staff and the organization of the Kings is figure out who you want to stick with, who it is, like Kyrie Irving saying, who it is you want to keep and who it is you want to get out of, because that's just going to help you, like I said, find that identity. But if I'm answering your question correctly, that's where I feel the shifting has gone. If you're asking, maybe what you're asking me is who do you think should be starting, then maybe that's the question. But I'll let you ask that one.
Definitely. Yeah, the reason for the lineups have been a combination of injury. We can't downplay that. Fact of the matter is the Kings have just had some really bad luck. On top of having a coaching change and a whole new paradigm and someone coaching against the way that the team is built, coaching against the previous, the previous success of last year. We've had some injuries, and who the starters have been. Although they haven't gotten results, to me, for the most part, at least they make sense. We're trying to have a combination of spacing the floor, in the guard position with Buddy, spacing the floor at the forward position with Nemanja, and then trying to have a balance of guys that can play some defense and that can rebound. Harrison Barnes, at the 3 playing defense and rebounding, and then Richaun Holmes at the 5 playing defense and rebounding. Obviously, we know that, everything that we had hoped and planned for regarding, how am I forgetting my guy's name now? It's Dwayne Dedman. He just came in and just didn't play up, and Richaun got us results quicker, so we ended up rolling with him. So I understand why the lineups have been what they've been. Now, minutes is what I'm a little bit more, and minutes plays into lineups, but I'm a little more concerned with. Fact of the matter is, let's just say some facts. Trevor Ariza needs to play less minutes, and I'm not a Trevor Ariza hater. I'm actually glad that he's here, but Luke Walton and he have a relationship, or Luke Walton has some idea of what Trevor Ariza is and is supposed to be, and the film just shows that he's not as much of that as Luke wants him to be. The other thing is, what were you going to say, Andrew?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
The other thing is, as far as like the guard spot, Corey Joseph, I appreciate everything that he's done this year, but there's been times where, we definitely needed the defense, and I'm glad he was in at those times, but there have been times where we needed more scoring, and I don't think we've played Yogi Ferrell enough.
Oh, gosh. Yogi!
Ferrell. Come on, he can come in and get us a bucket, and there's been so many times because of our offense, we don't run a lot of motion off the ball. It's a lot of ball watching from the guys in the corners, not enough off-ball screens. So if we are gonna, if we're gonna be so pick and roll heavy, and then we should put a guy who's pretty successful in the pick and roll. Yeah. Yogi Ferrell is a very competent pick and roll player. So yeah, that's kind of my thing. More than anything, I would have liked to see, like, if Holmes is going to be out and then Bagley's going to be in and out, I would like to see Giles just for an extra spark of energy. You know, and then when he makes a mistake, it's fine. I feel like it's fine to take him out and put someone else in, but go ahead and give him that shot, because he's going to give you all the energy and everything that you want to start off with. Yogi Ferrell needs some more minutes, and outside of that, like, if we're going to stick with lineups, I know so much is about matchups. It's the NBA. Like, how do you match up? How do you match up? But for us, it would be good if we just got some more consistency in it and stuck with that. And I think we can be a little bit more consistent even with the injuries.
That's a great point. And just to touch back on that, I'm looking at our lineup right here, and I'm realizing, damn, we do go to the 10th man. Like, you know, I would say after the 9th, where, you know, it's a bit of a fall off. It's not a hard one, but I mean, you know, in an ideal world with all these guys playing consistent, again, you know, this is a perfect world I'm describing and dreaming and fantasizing of. You know, Buddy Hield is hitting shots at a higher rate, you know. Marvin Bagley is here for a full season. De'Aaron Fox is playing with the level of confidence he's playing at this point. Like, for him to somehow turn this, what we're talking about and thinking in the back of the head, even though we don't want to admit it, what we're thinking about is a wasted season. De'Aaron Fox is turning into a breakthrough season for himself, and I'm all for that, because that's the biggest thing the Kings Nation needed right now. Because at a point where we're like, dude, we are the second worst team in the Western Conference. That we were just in 8th place. We were just in 7th place. And for De'Aaron Fox to say, you know, I might not. Again, De'Aaron Fox, LeBron James, other guys like this are not capable of taking over a team single-handedly. You know, in this day, you know, maybe LeBron a couple years ago, maybe Kevin Durant a couple years ago, but you know, De'Aaron Fox just can't take this team to a W every single night. But what he does give us is that glimpse of the superstar that's to come, and I am, at this point as a Kings fan, I'm appreciative of everything I can get. But just going back to that lineup, this is my ideal starting 5, just for the fans and viewers who are watching this or listening to this at a later time. Just so you know, I don't want to touch up on the lineup topic without giving you who I think should be our starting lineup and our starting unit, and then because then Kings fans start nodding their head and like, oh, damn, we are a little bit scary like that. Oh, damn, you know, that is kind of fun if we can match up like that with the Portland Trail Blazers and our Utah Jazz and know that, oh, this game isn't over at the tip-off. You know, this is, oh, damn, who knows? We might just take these Lakers, you know? And I would say this. At the 1, I have De'Aaron Fox. At 2, I got Buddy Hield. At 3, I got Harrison Barnes. At 4, I got Marvin Bagley. And at 5, I got Rayshawn Holmes. Okay, and that's just with everybody playing great, because really, Rayshawn Holmes is great at the 4. You know, I think so. If we found if that Vucevic deal would have fell through, you know, obviously we want to be with Rayshawn Holmes. But if we found a true center and Rayshawn Holmes is at the 4, I don't see a lot of power forwards getting in the way of Mr. Rayshawn Holmes. But that's just the lineup with what we have. Again. Like Kyrie Irving said, we're going to work with what we got. Gosh, that's terrible, but that's another conversation for another time. Sorry to get distracted, but God, that starting 5 leaves you with Bogdan off the bench, dude. That leaves you with Yogi off the bench. That leaves you with Harry Giles off the bench. Sorry, dude. I can't discredit one of the top players. Exactly. Bielisa off the bench. I'm so sorry for disrespecting like that, Mr. Nemanja. But there we are. Like we're a deep team. But you know, until we can find a good rotation, and like you said, it's all about the matchup. But honestly, dude, like you know, it's not a day and night difference between NBA teams. You can expect what you need to expect out of your top 7 players when they're playing comfortably and they're playing with some chemistry. But you know, how is Dwayne Dedman going to fare with Yogi Ferrell when he's never gotten minutes with this guy, right? And so that's just my point, just to end the conversation about the lineups and whatnot. But you know, as a Kings fan, you'd love to see your team healthy. As any NBA fan, as any sports team fan, as anybody, you'd love to see your people around you healthy and doing well. But at this very point, we have to admit that we've had some pretty bad luck, and the injuries and coaching change, and you've kind of humbled me a little bit more, because I just wanted to point fingers as to where and why we were doing so bad this season. But like, De'Aaron Fox kind of made me realize that, God, we have something to be happy about.
Absolutely. And that's important for our very last topic, which is, like you mentioned, it where fans are now. I've never seen fans be this apathetic before at all. I've usually seen us be either on some sort of extreme of happy. More recently, and that's more due to like draft picks and us, getting happy about what picks we did get. Or I've seen us be, much more on the despair side. Oh, there go, same old Kangs. But now I've witnessed a new thing where I see Kings just kind of Kings fans having not much of a feeling at all. And that did occur. And I noticed that up until De'Aaron Fox had these last few string of games where he was balling out. So, like Fox and I'll even say Bagley too, even though he hasn't stayed on the court. One thing about Marvin Bagley is the second that he comes back from an injury, he has a productive game. His numbers may not jump off the page, but it is full of productivity. He usually gets 5 or more rebounds off the bench, and he usually has more than 11 points. But have you ever seen Kings fans get to this point? And does it make sense to you, Angel?
Oh, that's a great question. Have I seen them get to this point? No. Is it justified? Absolutely. With such high expectations from a season where we were like, God, we were this close for the playoffs, man. Again, if we were in the East Coast, we'd be battling in the freaking second round, possibly even the Eastern Finals, because we were just that exciting, right? You didn't know what to expect from these guys, and it's bad, because that was a 50-50 team. That was a sub 500 team, but so some games you'd win, some games you wouldn't, but. Yes, it's justified, because you're coming off a season like that and saying, whoa, we just added beast mode Rayshawn Holmes. Trevor Ariza was supposed to come in and give us great minutes. De'Aaron Fox is getting to where he needs to be as far as player development. And then just like that, we're a 14-16 team. Like, okay, we didn't have the start. That 0-5 start, first of all, was the first heart attack of the season. I wish it was the last, but I mean, oh my gosh, 0-5. This is not the Sacramento Kings I've come to love over the past 3 years alone. But then we get through it, and we're a 14-16 team. I believe we were 7th. We might have been 8th in the playoffs, or sorry, in the Western Conference standings.
We were tied for 7th.
Tied for 7th. And get this. No De'Aaron Fox, no Marvin Bagley.
Right.
So I'm like, what is up, man? Like, all those games we lost, I'm telling the other team's fans, like, bro, you lucky we didn't have De'Aaron Fox. Bro, you lucky we didn't have Marvin Bagley. Bro, y'all barely beat us and we didn't have Fox. So why are you talking to me? I'm talking all this mess. And then 14-16, and where are we now? Well, what's our standing now? 15-26?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's just, oh my gosh. I just didn't even realize that until I brought it up right now. I'm like, just how quickly your season can change like that. And so, yeah, I haven't seen him like this, Curtis. And honestly, unless De'Aaron Fox can keep playing like this, and this is just one of those seasons that brings me more anxiety. And thankfully, you played it out the way you did as far as this conversation went, because this was one thing that I told myself, I can't let it go. I can't let it, not be shared, especially with the Sacktown Nation. Dude, like, if you want some more anxiety, I'll drop it to you right now. De'Aaron Fox, might just be the greatest King to ever play in our jersey when it's all said and done, if he stays in Sacramento. If he stays in Sacramento. I know we got him for the next 2 years, barring any stupid trades, any Sacramento normal trades, but dude, this is where my anxiety kicks in. I'm like, dude, we got to flip this quick, and we got to get some people around my guy, De'Aaron Fox, even if that comes at the expense of our second pick overall, right? But obviously, I'd love to keep Bagley. Obviously, I'd love to keep everyone who's playing and just up their skill and win with who we have. But I'm sorry to say that the idea of not having De'Aaron Fox in our organization, going back to where it's been for the past 16 years, for another 16 years, it's a possibility, and for that reason, I think the Kings got to turn it around, and they got to turn it around quick, because I just can't even think about. I can't wrap my head around the idea of losing De'Aaron Fox, and hopefully that's not even in anybody's mind. But that with a season like this, especially coming off of a strong season like last year, I'm like, okay, like, did we hit our peak, or is somebody going to help us break that ceiling and break through? And obviously De'Aaron Fox is more than capable of doing that, and for that reason, we need to keep him around. And that is why, Curtis, before I let you wrap it up with your the fan apathy, that is why this is where this is the secret bonus conversation that we're a little secret gem Curtis and I are dropping that wasn't on the agenda, but we knew we were going to talk about it. That is why you've got to get these moving pieces moving. You know what I'm saying? These trades, this buzz talk, it can't be just buzz talk. Like, somebody's got to go. And Curtis, wouldn't you want to trade the man who requested a trade, especially when he's not producing the minutes you're still giving him, right? But I do understand from Vlade Divac's perspective, what are you going to get out this guy? What are you going to get for a Dwayne Dedmon? You know what I'm saying? I do understand that. I understand that they want to get a bundle out of him or involve him in a bundle, because player for player deal, that's not happening. Dwayne Dedmon's not bringing in an Anthony Davis. Come on, So I do want you to touch up on it. Like, what are some moving pieces that have got to happen? And if not this year, dude, if not this year, but in the offseason, in the next year, because like I said, De'Aaron Fox is easily the greatest King I've ever seen in a jersey already, in the Kings jersey already, and I was in love with DeMarcus Cousins' game, Chris Webber, White Chocolate, legends, right? But I mean, we all know what De'Aaron Fox could be, and that's what keeps us at the edge of our seats.
Absolutely. Got to give Fox some help. Nobody else really is untouchable. Obviously, there's people personally that I don't want to see go. Coming back around to the trades, that's one of the key ways, and it's been one of the hardest for us because we don't have a lot of leverage, and teams, repeatedly had been making offers to us that show that they don't respect us. Right. wanting everything and to leave us with nothing. Yeah, just because, well, you guys aren't going to get much better anyway. Why don't you just give me what I want, and you guys just take what's left over? Then you take into account this, where because we do have all these draft picks, we don't have a lot of high salaries, and or at least at the time we didn't. We really only had one, and we thought that we were going to be doing better than what we are. We ended up giving some people, bloated contracts. That's how one of the ways that a small market team attracts people. Take a look at the Blazers, Allen Crabbe and all these other, and what's his name? How am I forgetting other dude that ended up down in Atlanta too? Anyway, I can't think of his name. He used to be in Boston, but anyway, guys like that, you give them larger contracts, hoping to keep the talent that they do have, or bring the talent that they did show on another team into your city. But when even Corey Joseph, you can put into this category, although he's played well, he's not performing per se up to the amount of money that he's getting. And then you take Dwayne Dedmon, like you said, someone who had requested a trade because it didn't work out for him. Other guys played better than him, a la Holmes. And then him still wanting to play, he requests for a trade. He's been a great teammate. He asked very respectfully. But if someone is being overpaid and they're under-delivering, it makes it really, really hard to trade that person. So like you said, it has to be a package deal. And then you have to package it with people that, teams do want. Maybe they want an expiring contract along with that longer contract. Maybe they want a player that they feel like really could help them if they needed something extra. It's difficult. We do have a surplus of bigs, but the only people that I could really think of packaging that makes sense to me for them going would be like a Yogi Ferrell, who does give us a punch off the bench. I said I'd like him to play more, but if we're not playing him, and he does have the ability to play because he shows that every time he gets in, might as well get him gone. Another player, oh gosh. See, it would be difficult. Past that, it's difficult because in the, like I was gonna say Corey Joseph as well. That could be someone. Trevor Ariza, if someone thinks that Trevor Ariza would do better on another team, but the same thing. All those guys are getting paid, buku bucks, and none of them are really performing up to, what you would want to take on their contracts for. But luckily, Ariza is technically an expiring because. So that would be the nice thing because it's a team option next year. And I think Corey Joe, I don't remember if he was 2 year or 3 year. I think he might have been 3 year.
Many of those.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so that's kind of the situation that we're in. I do respect Vlade for not getting a deal done just for the sake of getting a deal done and trying to show people like I can make a trade. But between him and King Catanella being like our contract guy, our CBA guy, those two will have to put their heads together and figure out what they can move. Because I do feel like even though he's not beyond being traded, Bogdan Bogdanovic is one of the core pieces to us, and he kind of shows that in his absences. We've lost so many games. I think in his absences, I mean, as much as we've lost with Fox, we've like the losses because Bogey wasn't playing kind of mean more than the losses that we didn't have because De'Aaron wasn't playing. So it's such a tricky situation. And then the other thing is like, what do we get in return? Like we could use shooting, but we have shooters, but they're only hitting moderately. They're missing a lot of shots. We could use another rebounder, but we do have a rebounder, and Rashawn Holmes, he's just hurt, and he'll be back in a few weeks. So it's really difficult because we technically have everything that we should need, but not every player that we have is performing up to where they should. It's hard, man. It's real tough.
It is, because you realize you and that's a great point, dude, because you side-by-side comparisons as far as depth goes with other teams' rosters, and all of a sudden you think, gosh, if I was gonna run a 2K simulator, these Kings just might go out there and win this game. They're in some instances quicker than the other team, bigger than the other team, but it really comes down to, like you said, actually performing right under the lights. And that's why I love the Harry Giles off the bench. That's why I love Rashawn Holmes. They have what you can't teach, and that's hustle. Yep. These kids know one thing. These guys know one mode, and that's beast mode, and that's full mode. That's 100%, and you can't teach that. And it is very, very hard. I would agree 1,000% with you, because you're like, okay, buddy, I don't really think you're a shooter right now, because shoot, if I was shooting 23s, 3 are bound to fall too. And so here's where it gets a little tricky, right? Here's where we think, well, what would have happened if we didn't pay Buddy? Because here's a scenario I play out in my head a million times, thinking, not to say Buddy's not worth the money, but obviously his season this year is not worth what he's getting. But who's gonna budge, right? Who was gonna take Buddy if we didn't? I honestly want to know who was going to pay Buddy $100 million. I just can't think of a team, and that's no disrespect to my guy Buddy Hield. I love the guy. He's a hell of a shooter. He has improved as far as introducing racking or taking to the rack. He has added that to the game, much similar to Joel Embiid, listening to the criticism and going full grown man in that post. When critics talk down on Buddy's game, he said, well, that means I got to improve. So much respect to that. But I just think, like, if we didn't pay all that money for Buddy, things might be a little bit different. Our roster might be a little bit different. Trade talk might be a little bit different, But I can't ask you a question and not answer it myself. Who would the moving pieces for me be? Who would? Hey, if we're gonna get something, like you said, I do give a lot of respect to Vlade Divac, because it's not like him to wait it out and make a smart, bold business decision, right? We've seen it time and time again. Goodbye. Oh, this didn't work. You lost the game. Bye. And that's why I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous at a point. I was like, oh gosh, this guy's gonna trade our whole team, or we're just gonna be stuck with our G League. So I do give credit for him, waiting it out. But if I'm gonna be honest, who needs to go, who needs to go, but who can give us something in return? I don't like you said, this doesn't mean I want them out. It's just what's going to get us back something. And Harry Giles, dude, he is one of those examples of like, if we are not using him, please, please, please let the man get his respect. Let him get his credit. Let him get his money somewhere else. Let that man become the player that he deserves to be, because he is just a pure hustler. And because of that, I would hate to see him go. But if that means a starting role or a sixth man, a seventh man off the bench in another team, I'm all for it, dude. Because that's just the kind of player these guys, these teams are going to get if they trade for Harry Giles. That to me, I can't see a trade happening without Harry Giles, because that dude just adds great value to the trade. And usually that'll mean on a smart trading decision something back in return. But not just that. Besides all that, dude, it's a business move. These guys' lives are changing. This guy's been here for the past several years. This guy's got to move across the country, down the street, whatever it is. You want the best for that guy. You don't want that move to be something where it's a JJ Redick deal where this guy's going to play for every damn team by the end of the year, or sorry, by the end of his career, or Kyle Korver, who's so damn close to getting traded to the WNBA because he's been on so many teams, right? but I don't want that for Harry Giles, right? So we need to trade him and put them in a position to succeed. With that being said, I think Harry Giles for sure is somebody who's in the conversation. Somebody like Dwayne Dedmon is just a package deal again. At this point, Bogdanovic is not going to get us something. I know he's been in a lot of trade talks, but I mean, a Bogdanovic trade for a Kuzma trade? Come on, guys. Come on, Kings Nation. As good as that sounds, that's a lateral move. We're not going up or down. We're going side to side. And what are we doing with that? That's a lateral move. So I would say Bogdanovic, Harry Giles, and Trevor Ariza, Corey Joseph, Dwayne Dedmons, the guys off the bench are obviously on the hot seat. The people who are and just to end it right here, everybody can be traded at any time. You mentioned it earlier. At this point, I think the only person who doesn't get traded on the Kings is De'Aaron Fox. In the next 4 years, I can see anywhere from Buddy, Bagley, Rayshawn Holmes, Harrison Barnes, those guys. I can see him out of here, at this point. And I think it's really smart. And that's why Vlade Divac is thinking, long and hard about it, because, De'Aaron Fox is the face of this franchise. How do we win games, and how do we win now around this guy? And the way De'Aaron Fox has been playing as of late, I think it's kind of giving Vlade Divac a sense of what our game style is and what kind of players he needs around him. He needs people. He needs a LaMarcus Aldridge or post mid-range shooters who can stay out of his way. But staying out of his way doesn't mean not producing anymore. Staying out of his way means putting yourself in game now. Because if De'Aaron Fox takes it out to you, oh lordy, you can work your game and do what you got to do. So we do need a true 4-5 stretch shooter. And I think now with the way De'Aaron Fox is playing, he's making it easier for the management to do its job. And just to kind of end on this note, that means if everybody does its job, this organization does what it's supposed to do, and that's win games. And that's what we'll leave it off at, man. Everybody does their part. Everybody has a role. Do your part, the Kings win game. Do your part, the Kings organizations thrive, And I love it, dude, because it gives us something to talk about on a Friday evening.
Exactly. And I think that is the perfect place to leave it. So hopefully what we end up seeing the rest of the season, the best thing that I could ask for is health. If we could just stay healthy, guys continue to, just work together and figure it out. From the top down, Vlade, the coaching staff, everybody just stay healthy, stay committed. Let's see where we end up. This season, we're just going to have to see where it goes. But Angel was such an awesome guest that we'll definitely have him back. Maybe if not sooner than like a 3/4 of the season, report to see where we're at. But Angel, where can the people find you?
Where can the people find me on the Facebook, on the YouTube, Instagram? I'm on Twitter. I'm not really active on Twitter, but all those things, all those usernames will be sent to Mr. Curtis so he can post it on his respective platforms. And from there, we'll just grow and never forget, baby, Sacktown, Sack Nation. You already know how it is.
Big time. So thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Sacktown Breakdown will be breaking down some more games tomorrow. Tap should be breaking down the next game, which I believe is against the Jazz. So keep your eyes out for that. Angel, one more thing.
That breakdown better be a W, or Sacktown Breakdown will be an emotional breakdown tomorrow.
Yeah, Sacktown breakdown will be broken down tomorrow if that next breakdown isn't a W. But we'll see where it ends up. All right, y'all take care. Have a good night. Peace.
Hey,